Huku gatuzi la Isiolo likisalia bado kuwa miongoni mwa kaunti zinazoongoza kwenye dhuluma za kijinsia. Sasa shirika lisilo la kiserikali la Plan International limezindua mradi wa kushughulikia janga hili. Kwa mujibu wa George Otim ambaye ni mkurugenzi wa shirika hilo humu nchini, kuwa wanalenga kuwatumia makundi ya vijana na kina mama.
As I mentioned before, this project is funded by Swiss International Agency for Development and Cooperation. The approach is that we are employing is working with youth-led and women-led organizations. These are the people who understand the context better than us. So they will be in the driving seat in terms of implementing the projects, leading in all those pillars of creating inclusive, safe environment, strengthening the referral pathways, and then working in terms of empowering women and all those other projects. I know Plan could have implemented it directly, but that is not sustainable. Experience has shown that it cannot be sustainable. That's why we have a very bold approach of working with locally led, globally connected, where we bring the global aspect of it, but the locally led knowledge is very important in trying to address and reshaping the thinking, the cultural norm, and then the practice. So if it is locally led, I believe it will have a lot of buy-in, and then also it is more sustainable. On the side of the county government also, we expect them to be providing the technical guidance. The government always has a lot of policy, a lot of technical guidance, and as we know, Kenya government has been progressive in terms of policy environment. So they will be providing policy directive, guidance, and supporting these women's groups so that we can achieve the objective that we want to achieve. Challenges, addressing cultural norms is not easy. It's not one-day events. It needs to take time. So we'll be monitoring. I think that is one of the risks that we want to monitor. Will there be some gatekeepers who will be opposing to some of these cultural practices? Our experience shows in other programs that there are some gatekeepers who are benefiting from those practices. For example, those who are doing the cutting of the girls, they don't want to stop that practices. So we do not know whether it's the same experience, but that's why we have to go for community-led approach. That's why we want to work with government, we want to work with religious leaders, so that the approaches that we want to apply, we can get buy-in. We are employing what is called acceptance approach, where there's acceptance, and then we continuously push for change in this policy. Another area is when you look at what the county has been saying about the rescue center, and then also targeting two locations, and there are many other places that we need to look at. What we know is that the need is great, but the resources to address those needs is limited. But we start something small and see how we can expand.
Martina Dulel ambaye ni kiongozi wa shirika la Uswizi ukanda wa Afrika wanaofadhili mradi huu, anasema wananchi wakihusishwa kwenye vita hivi basi ushindi utapatikana.
Yesterday we had the chance to talk to some of the youth and women-led organizations who are engaging in that project. And we were discussing exactly the same question: what would success look like? What do we want to achieve at the end? Let me start by saying why Switzerland actually is supporting this initiative and why we launched it. For Switzerland, we strongly believe that diversity is important. It brings more stability and gives a voice to the people. To strengthen initiatives that are ongoing on the ground by these organizations, they're doing a lot with very little. So it's really, as it has been said, change needs to come from within a society and from within a community. That's why we support gender-based violence through a community approach. Of course, Kenya is in a good position when it comes to legislation. There is a lot of laws and frameworks already in place, but it is important to translate them on the ground and to have action taking place. So we need to bring together the legal framework and what is happening on the ground, on the middle ground. So what we would like to see at the end is that these community-led initiatives by these women and young people can get traction, that they can form networks, that they form alliances. This project is not only taking place in northeastern Kenya, but also in southeastern Ethiopia and in Somalia. And our aspiration is that this powerful organization can create a network beyond the borders, get a voice, and have a dialogue with the authorities to really make changes on the ground. That is what we would like to see.
Mradi huu wa shirika la Plan International ukipongezwa na Michael Nzomo kutoka Tume ya Usawa na Jinsia nchini Kenya.
Kwa maoni yangu, hii ndio the best approach. Sababu mwanzo ni kwamba utapata solutions pale mashinani. Plan International hawana solutions za hizi vitu zote because the unique nature of this county is that around 41 of the communities in the country are represented here, all with different social and cultural practices. Na sababu tunao-involve wenye wako mashinani, it makes it a lot easier even for the project to learn from the experience of one project into another. Na wakisoma yale masomo ambao watapata hapo, they can be replicated in a similar population. So I think it's an excellent approach to look at it.
My last question. Do you think it's a challenge to government institutions, the existing government institutions, just to change for be able to sort of achieve more gains from the ongoing efforts to end these violence?
I think it's both. It's both government intervention. Government has delayed, because they don't want to create instability in the populations. They don't want to create disharmony in the populations with interventions, because all these things, if you look at FGM, there's even an act of parliament which outlaws it and has a very punitive jail term. But can government just come and do a big bang approach and say that it has to stop today, tomorrow we don't hear about these cases. That's where now the community approach comes in, so that we secure community buy-in. A lot of education is required. And we are seeing that not just the adult population, you also need to involve the kids themselves, right from school level, in curricula, in school clubs, where they get sensitized about these matters, because these kids are growing in a global community where these practices are not, don't persist. So if they go back to their homes and speak to their parents about what's happening in the world, then we are going to create a world that is, it's equal. Thank you.
Serikali ya kaunti ya Isiolo ikiahidi kuunga mkono juhudi zao, kama anavyoelezea Daktari Lawrence Mungera aliyemwakilisha gavana wa kaunti Isiolo Abdi Guyo.
I sincerely thank Plan International for implementing this impactful program and the government of Switzerland through the Swiss Development Corporation for this generous financial support. Your investment demonstrates not only solidarity with the survivors, but also trust in local solutions. I also salute the women-led organization who contribute in the manner of knowledge, local knowledge, trust, and direct engagement with the different communities. Their collaboration ensures that solutions are context-specific, sustainable, and truly empowering to survivors. To the county government, as the county government of Isiolo, we affirm our zero tolerance on all forms of gender-based violence and remain committed to working hand in hand with our partners to ensure that survivors receive timely medical care, psychological support, legal redress, and integration support. As a government, we are committed to creating an environment where all individuals, especially women and girls, can live free from fear and harm.
DCC wa Isiolo ya Kati Christopher Siele akitoa wito huu kwa wananchi.
Hii kufungwa maisha ni swala ambayo ingekuwa muhimu sana kama wangekuwa wanapatikana. Now we have the challenge where these cases happen in communities, but they go unreported. Many cases of GBV embedded in the communities, and no people come forward to raise complaints, because we have laws which deal with cases of gender-based violence. But however, reporting or communities coming out to volunteer information and give evidence, because you have to have witnesses who are willing to come forward and record statements for successful prosecution. So the reason as to why we have these cases which go unpunished is because no one is willing to volunteer information in the first case, and also to take a step further to record statements and be able to appear in court to give evidence. So we welcome partners who come forward so that we sensitize the communities, so that they are also aware of this. Because some of the community members, especially deep in the interior, are not aware that these are cases which are punishable. They tolerate cases of violence against women because they think it is part of way of life.
Nikiripotia Kamachu TV kutoka eneo la Kilimani, ikiwa ni wadi ya Borat, gatuzi la Isiolo, langu jina ni ripota 001 wa Jumbe Kamachu.